Hi guys, welcome back. They say life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, and this week, the smoke from Canadian wildfires made it dangerous to breathe the air here in our town. That triggered a couple of debilitating migraines that put me in the bed for a couple days. And then while I was sick, Doug accidentally injured his shoulder, and for several days it looked like he might have to postpone a surgery that he's needed for a long time. On the heels of that, we got hit by huge thunderstorms that took out trees and power lines all over town. A big tree fell across our backyard, and with Doug's shoulder injury, I was the one who had to buy the chainsaw and deal with it. Because I've been so busy with life's little problems this week, I haven't had time to do my usual research on EEO topics, so I wasn't even sure until yesterday what I was going to talk to you guys about. Before my EEOC fight, all this stuff probably would have led me to a big old pity party. And off screen, I'd probably be eating my way through a quart of cookie dough ice cream. We all have our vices. But I didn't have my pity party this week. I stayed calm. And I have to tell you that staying calm felt even better than self-pity and cookie dough. That's when I realized the EEOC process had changed me. And not just for the worse, but also for the better in some ways. I've told you about some of the negative changes before. Today, I want to share some of the positive changes, so that as you go through the process, you'll be able to see and appreciate how you're changing too. A lot of you have been really open with me about your reasons for fighting, and you've shared your stories with me about times in your life when you felt like you couldn't defend yourself, so this time you had to. Those stories always break my heart because I've been there. I know what it's like. Discrimination can make us feel worthless and abused all over again. It can make us feel like we don't matter, or even worse, it can make us feel like we deserve to be abused. When I got sick, it did slow me down, and that made me feel worthless as an employee. So when my boss told me that I didn't deserve to be reasonably accommodated, I kind of believed her. But I quickly realized that I was lying to myself, and as I started to fight and study the law, I realized two things. First, that being sick didn't make me worthless as an employee. I still had all the skills and qualifications that I ever had. And I also realized that the rights I was fighting for weren't anything I had to earn or deserve. They were given to me by law. They're mine. And nobody gets to take them away, no matter what they think I deserve. Confidence is about what we believe we can accomplish. And the women who raised me to believe that no matter how hard the road ahead of me gets, I can handle it. I'd always believed that until I became disabled and couldn't do all the stuff that I was used to being able to do. Again, that shook my confidence a lot. Even with the flexible schedule and episodic telework, it was hard for me to manage. And when I asked to use those things as reasonable accommodation and my boss refused to even discuss it, well, that shook my confidence even more. Without those things, I didn't see any way that I could possibly make it through the 2 years until I could retire. But I had to figure it out. I started with my health, physical and mental. I concentrated on feeding my body the right nutrients, staying hydrated, getting enough sleep, moving my body gently every day, reducing stress as much as I could, and especially not beating myself up with a bunch of negative self-talk. I also had to make a bunch of other changes. For instance, before the discrimination, I'd never questioned my boss on anything. I always did everything that she asked me to do. The first time I had to draw a line with her, I was terrified. The terror was a good thing, actually, because it reminded me that whatever I did, I had to be deliberate and professional about it. But I didn't let it stop me from drawing that line. And what I found out was that every time I had to draw a line with her, I got a little better at it. And after a while, I got totally comfortable with drawing those lines. And wicked effective at it, too. And that gave me a sense of self-mastery and made me feel like I had a little bit of control over a situation where I'd felt completely at her mercy before. I've always had a sense of empathy for others. I think it comes from having a sister with Down syndrome who is my best friend for most of my life. But I myself was a person of privilege for most of my life. And because of that privilege, I think I took a lot of my rights for granted. The discrimination showed me how quickly that privilege could be stripped away. That gave me a big dose of humility that connected me even more closely with people like my sister, and also connected me to a bunch of people that I hadn't thought much about before. People like Breonna Taylor's mom, and all the moms and dads out there who have to worry that their kids are going to be harmed by someone else's bias and ignorance. Losing just a few of my rights made me realize how fragile all our rights are. and how hard we have to fight to keep those rights. I realize that I'm still a person with privilege. I don't know all your pain, and I can't. But I did get a glimpse of all the harm that bias and ignorance can do in the world, and I'm grateful for that. Ironically, being dehumanized connected me to the rest of the human race in a way that I never would have been connected otherwise. This week I realized that in the face of injustice like discrimination, all of life's little problems are just nits. That's all stuff that would have stressed me out once. Not anymore. These are just a few of the really great things that I got from my EEOC fight. I have to tell you, I didn't get those from winning. I got those from just fighting. So if you're fighting, keep going. I don't know what you're going to get from your fight in the end, but I can promise you that win or lose, you're going to get a few things that are worth hanging on to. See you guys next time. Till then, take care and keep hanging in.